A small fist slammed into a woman's stomach. She doubled over with a soft gasp. The fist came again, harder this time, aimed at her ribs. A child's voice screamed out one short, terrible sentence. The whole room of grown wolves froze where they stood. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. A glass of water tipped over on the long oak table and shattered on the stone floor. The boy did not stop. His small hands kept swinging at her dress, her arm, anywhere he could reach. He was 7 years old. His name was Kalen, and he was the only son of the Alpha King. And the woman he was hitting was the new Luna of the entire northern pack. What does an Alpha King do when his own son strikes his chosen mate and screams the cruelest words a wolf pup can say? Now stay with me on this one. 6 months earlier, Wren walked into the Iron Hollow keep with nothing but the clothes on her back and a small wooden box under her arm. The guards did not stop her. They had been told to expect her. Two of them looked at each other when she passed. One of them whispered something to the other, and the other shook his head. Wren did not hear it. She did not need to. She had heard the same whispers in every village she walked through for the past 3 weeks. The Alpha King had chosen a mate from outside the bloodlines. She was not from any noble pack. She had no rank, no title, no land, no army of cousins. She had been a healer in a small mountain village. Now she was going to be queen. Most of the pack had decided what to think about her before they ever laid eyes on her. Thuron met her in the Great Hall. He was taller than she remembered, wider in the shoulders, quieter. 6 months had not changed his face, but it had changed the weight in his eyes. He looked at her like a man looking at a promise he had finally been allowed to keep. He did not embrace her in front of the guards. He simply nodded once and held out his hand. She took it. His hand was warm and rough and very, very steady. "Where is he?" she asked. "In the courtyard," Thuron said. "With his nurse." "Does he know I'm here?" "He knows." Wren looked at the closed door at the far end of the hall. "What did you tell him?" "The truth," Thuron said. "I told him you knew his mother. I told him she sent you." Wren swallowed. The wooden box under her arm suddenly felt heavier. And he did not speak for the rest of the day. Now here's the thing. Kalen had been 4 years old when Sira died. Old enough to remember her face. Old enough to remember her voice when she sang to him at night. Old enough to know, in the way wolf pups know things, that the woman in the bed was leaving and was not coming back. Sira had died in the same hour. She had pressed the wooden box into Wren's hand and made her promise. Wren had kept that promise for 3 years. She had stayed in her village. She had waited. She had done exactly what Sira asked her to do, which was not to come too soon, not to crowd the boy in his grief, not to be the second wife before the first had been mourned. 3 years was what Sira had asked for. 3 years was what Wren gave. On the day the 3rd year ended, Thuron's messenger arrived at her door. The wolf pup Kalen had been raised by the entire pack. Nursemaids, elders, Thuron's old cousins, a dozen aunts who were not really his aunts. He had been loved. He had been fed. He had been taught to fight and to hunt and to read. But he had been raised in a household with no mother in it, and he had felt every empty seat at every meal for 3 years. The pup did not want a new mother. He had made that clear to anyone who would listen. He had told his nurse. He had told the kitchen cook. He had told the stable boy, who was 11 and old enough to know better than to repeat it. The whole keep knew what the pup felt about the woman his father was bringing home. Wren knew it too. She had known it before she ever set foot in the keep. That first day, she walked out to the courtyard with Thuron at her side. The pup was sitting on a low stone wall, swinging his legs, throwing pebbles at a target his nurse had set up. He saw her coming. He stopped swinging his legs. He did not turn his face toward her. "Kaelen," Thuron said. "This is Ren." The pup did not answer. Ren knelt in the dirt, so her eyes were below his. She did not reach for him. She did not smile too wide. She simply opened the wooden box. Inside was a pendant on a thin silver chain. A small carved wolf mid-howl. Sira had worn it every day of her life. "Your mother gave me this," Ren said. "She told me to give it to you when you were ready. I am not here to take her place. I am here because she asked me to come." The pup looked at the pendant for a long time. Then he stood up and walked away. That was day 1. 6 months of small mornings followed. Ren made breakfast for him before the cooks woke. She did not insist he eat with her. She just left a plate. Some days he ate it. Some days he did not. On the days he did not, she did not say a word. She found the wolf pup he had hidden in the woods. A scraggly thing with a torn ear and one bad eye. Kaelen had been feeding it scraps for weeks. Ren brought it home in a basket and built it a bed beside the kitchen fire. She told no one whose pup it was. She let Kaelen come and feed it himself in the mornings. He never thanked her. She never asked him to. When he was feverish in the spring, she sat beside his bed for 3 nights without sleep. He did not know. He thought it was his nurse. Ren let him think it. When a rogue wolf slipped past the wards in the lower meadow, Ren put herself between the pup and the rogue and took a long gash across her side. Kaelen never saw the wound. Ren healed in silence and wore long sleeves until it scarred over. Thuron knew. Thuron always knew. But Thuron did not say a word either, because Ren had asked him not to. This was how she courted his trust. Not with gifts. Not with speeches. With small, invisible kindnesses he was supposed to never see. And slowly the pup began to look at her. He looked at her when she walked past. He looked at her when she laughed at one of Thuron's old jokes. He looked at her hands when she peeled fruit at the table. He did not speak to her. But he looked. And looking in a wolf pup is how love begins. Thuron saw it. The elders saw it. Even the cooks saw it. The council did not. The council had decided long before Ren arrived that she was a mistake. They were old wolves with old bloodlines and old daughters they had hoped to see crowned. The chief among them was a wolf named Garrick. Garrick had been Thuron's father's second when Thuron's father was Alpha. Garrick had expected to be the second under Thuron too. Garrick had been told otherwise. Garrick had not forgiven it. The morning of the presentation ceremony was the morning Garrick made his move. The presentation was a tradition. Every new Luna was formally introduced to the council on the first new moon after the 6th month of her mating. She would walk into the council chamber. She would stand beside the Alpha King. The council would bow. That was the ceremony. It was supposed to take 10 minutes. Garrick had spent the night before in the pup's chambers. He had brought a small wooden carving for the pup. He had spoken softly to the pup about loyalty, about blood, about how a real mother is the one who carries you in her belly, and how anyone else who tries to take that name is a thief. He told the pup that today, in the chamber, he could make it stop. He could speak. He could refuse her. He could say what no one else was allowed to say. And if he was brave enough, his father would listen. The pup believed him. The pup was 7 years old. That morning, Ren put on the dress Sira had been buried in. It was the only thing of Sira's she had left, and Thuron had asked her to wear it. The skirt was a little long. The sleeves a little tight. Around her neck she wore Sira's pendant. The small carved wolf. The one she had tried to give to Kaelen that first day. The one he had refused. The one she had kept ever since. She walked into the chamber on Thuron's arm. The council stood, 12 elders in a half circle. Garrick was the nearest. The pup was beside him, dressed in a small formal tunic. The pup did not look at her. Thuron stopped at the center of the chamber. "Council," he said. "My mate. Your Luna." There was a pause. The pup stepped forward. "You're not my real mother." His voice was small. Small and clear and trained. He had practiced it. You could hear that he had practiced it. He said it again, louder. "You're not my real mother." "She is." He pointed at a portrait on the far wall. "Sira, painted the year Kalan was born. Still hanging there." Ren did not move. She did not breathe. The pup ran at her. His small fist slammed into her stomach. She doubled over. He hit her again, harder, across the ribs. He grabbed at the pendant. The chain snapped. The little carved wolf hit the stone floor and skittered under a chair. He kept swinging. Nobody moved to stop him. The council watched. Some of them in horror. Some of them in something that looked like satisfaction. Garrick watched with his arms folded. Thuron was not in the room. Thuron had been called away to the gate 2 minutes before the pup struck. A messenger had come with news of a border party. By the time Thuron returned, the pup was still swinging. Ren was on her knees and the pendant was on the floor. The room went quiet when the Alpha King walked in. The pup stopped. The pup turned around. His face was wet. His chest was heaving. He looked at his father and lifted his chin like a soldier who has just done what he was ordered to do. Thuron looked at his son. Then he looked at Ren on the floor. Then he walked slowly past his son, past the council, past Garrick. He bent down. He picked up the broken pendant. He did not say a word. The room let out a long, slow breath. Garrick's mouth curled at the corner. The council relaxed. They all believed the same thing in that moment. They believed the Alpha King was about to scold the boy gently and send the woman away. They had won. Thuron turned the pendant over in his palm. He closed his fingers around it. He stood very still for a long moment. And the room thought it was over. And then Thuron dropped to his knees. A sound went through the chamber. Not a word. Just a sound. 12 old wolves all making the same small noise at the same time. The Alpha King does not kneel. He had not knelt in the chamber when he took the throne. He had stood. He had not knelt to the Southern King at the Treaty of Marrow Pass. The Southern King had knelt to him. He had not knelt for his own father's funeral. He had stood at the head of the procession and carried the body himself. Thuron of Iron Hollow had never been seen on his knees by another living wolf. He was on his knees now. He was on his knees in front of his 7-year-old son. The crown on his head, a thin band of dark iron, plain, the kind a working alpha wears, not a ceremonial one. He lifted it off and set it on the floor beside him. Garrick stood up. "Your Majesty." Thuron raised one hand. He did not look at Garrick. He did not turn his head. He just raised one hand. Garrick sat back down. The pup was staring at his father. His chin was no longer high. His arms were no longer folded. He had begun, very slightly, to shake. "Kalan," Thuron said. His voice was quiet. It was not the voice of the Alpha King. It was the voice of a father, and it was the most dangerous quiet anyone in that room had ever heard, because there was no anger in it. None at all. "Kalan, look at me." The pup looked. "What did you say to her?" The pup's mouth opened. It closed. It opened again. "I said she's not my real mother." "Say it again." "Look at her this time." The pup turned. Wren was still on her knees on the stone floor, one hand on the ground, the other at her side where his second blow had landed. The pup tried to say it. His lips moved. No sound came out. "Now listen to me," Thuron said, "because I am only going to say this to you once. And I am going to say it where every wolf in this chamber can hear me. So that nobody, for the rest of your life, can claim they did not know what your father said on this day." He paused. "She's better than that." 4 words. He said them quietly. He said them like a man laying a stone in a wall that would stand for 1,000 years. "She's better than that, Kaylin. She is better than what you just said. She is better than what those words tried to make her. She is better than any wolf in this room who let you swing at her without standing up. She is better than the man who put those words in your mouth last night." His eyes moved, just for a flicker, to Garrick. Garrick had gone very pale. "She is the woman your mother chose." The pup made a small sound. "You did not know that," Thuron said. "I'm going to tell you now. Your mother chose her. Your mother knew she was going to die. Your mother spent the last 3 days of her life writing a letter. You have not seen this letter. I have. Wren has. Nobody else. If you're still with me on this story, do me a favor and tap that subscribe button. There's a piece of what Thuron says next that I don't want you to miss. Stay close." Thuron reached into the breast of his tunic. He drew out a folded square of parchment. Old. Soft at the edges from being read. "This is your mother's hand," he said. He held it up. The pup's eyes locked on it. "This is what she wrote about Wren." He did not read it yet. "Your mother and Wren grew up 2 villages apart. Your mother walked 4 miles every Sabbath as a child to play with her. They were children together. They were girls together. They were women together. When your mother became my Luna, the only person she missed from her old life was Wren. When your mother got sick, she asked for one thing. She asked me to find Wren and bring her here. I did. Wren sat with her for the last 14 days of her life. She held her hand when she died. She held it through the morning. She held it after." The pup was crying now. Soundlessly. The tears were just falling. "Your mother gave Wren that pendant," Thuron said. He opened his other hand. The broken pendant was in it. The one you just broke. Your mother put it in Wren's hand and made her promise. The promise was to come here after 3 years after you had grieved, and to be a mother to the son she could not finish raising. Wren promised. Wren waited 3 years. Then Wren came. Without an army. Without a title. Without a single wolf to defend her. She came because your mother asked her to." He paused. "And every day since she walked into this keep, she has done one thing. She has tried to love you without making you feel like she was trying to replace anyone." The pup's knees were shaking. "The wolf pup in the kitchen. The one you think you saved. She brought it home. She did not tell you. She let you think you saved it." The pup made a small wounded sound. "The nights you were sick with the fever in March. Your nurse did not sit with you. Your nurse was sick too. Wren sat with you for 3 nights. She did not sleep. She did not eat. She let you think it was your nurse because she did not want you to feel grateful to her. She wanted you to like her on your own." The pup was sobbing now. The scar on her side. You have not seen it. She has it because last harvest, when a rogue came over the wards, she put her body between you and the teeth. She did not tell you. She did not want you to feel that you owed her your life." He stopped. He let the silence sit. "That is the woman you just hit," he said. "That is the woman who is not your real mother." The pup's legs gave out. He sat down hard on the stone. He looked at Ren. Ren was still on her knees, one hand at her side. She was crying too, but she had not made a sound. Her tears had been running down her face since the moment Thuron knelt. Ren, the pup said. It came out as a whisper. She lifted her head. He crawled to her. He did not stand. He could not stand. He crawled across the stone on his hands and knees, the small heels of his palms scraping, and when he reached her, he put both of his arms around her neck and pressed his wet face into her shoulder and made a sound that was older than 7 years old. It was the sound a wolf pup makes when it remembers the smell of its mother. Ren did not say anything for a long moment. Then she put one hand on the back of his head, the way Sira used to, and held him. The chamber was completely silent. Thuron rose slowly from his knees. He picked up the iron crown. He did not put it back on. He held it in one hand at his side. He turned to face the council. Garrick stood. He was a tall wolf, older than Thuron by 20 years. He had killed 3 rogues with his bare hands in his youth. He had stood beside Thuron's father at the Battle of Black Stream. He had held authority in this chamber for longer than Thuron had been alive. He was the second most powerful wolf in the kingdom. He stood now with his hands at his sides, and the look of a man who had just realized he had taken one step too many in the dark. Your Majesty, he said, you went to my son last night. Your Majesty, you spoke to a child of 7 about loyalty and blood. You handed him a script. You told him that if he had the courage to speak today, his father would listen. Garrick said nothing. His father did listen, Garrick. His father listened to every word. The room did not breathe. You have been second of the Council of Iron Hollow for 31 years. You served my father. You served his father before him. Out of respect for that history, I am going to give you a choice. Garrick lifted his chin. There was something old in his face. Something almost grateful that a choice was being offered. Speak it, he said. You will leave this keep tonight. You will walk out with nothing. No title, no rank, no honor guard, no pension. You will go to your daughter's house in the Southern Valley. You will live there. You will not speak my name again. You will not speak the name of my Luna. You will not speak the name of my son. If I hear that you have, the next conversation we have will not be in this chamber. Garrick nodded once. He did not argue. He understood that the second sentence would not be a conversation. That is the choice, he said. That is the choice. The alternative is challenge. Right now. On this floor. In front of this council. You and me. Garrick looked at the floor. He looked at the king. He looked at the king's bare hands. I will leave tonight, he said. Good. Garrick turned. He walked out of the chamber. 2 of the younger counselors moved to escort him. The doors closed behind them. Thuron turned to the rest of the council. The rest of you, he said. Listen. Because what I said to my son, I am also saying to you. He held up the broken pendant. This woman is your Luna. Not because I chose her. Because my first Luna chose her. Because the woman whose portrait hangs on that wall chose her in the last days of her life, when she had no reason to lie and every reason to tell the truth. Sira chose Ren. Sira trusted Ren with the only thing she had left in this world. Which is the boy now in her arms. He paused. If any of you have an objection to Ren, raise it now. To my face. While I am still calm. Nobody spoke. Good. Then this chamber is dismissed. You will all be back here in 3 days. We will hold the presentation again. Properly. And this time when my mate walks in, you will rise and you will bow, and you will mean it. Is that understood? A low chorus of "Yes, Your Majesty." Out. The council filed out in silence. The chamber emptied slowly until only 3 were left. Thuron walked to where Ren was kneeling on the stone with Kaelin in her arms. He knelt beside them, this time as a father and a husband and not as a king. He put one large hand on the back of his son's head, over Ren's hand. "Forgive her," he said quietly. He was not talking to her. He was talking to the boy. "She has been forgiving you for 6 months. Forgive her now. For not being who you wanted her to be when you were 4. She has carried that for you. You don't have to carry it anymore." The pup did not answer. He was still pressed into Ren's shoulder. But he nodded. "Small. Once." Ren reached up. She put her hand over Thuron's hand. For the first time in 6 months, the 3 of them touched at the same time. Outside, the bells began to ring for evening prayer. Inside, on the stone floor of the council chamber, the new family of the kingdom did not move for a very long time. That night Ren did not sleep. She sat in a chair by Kaelin's bed and watched him sleep instead. He had eaten supper with her on a low stool in the kitchen, sitting on the floor beside the wolf pup, the one with the torn ear. He had told her, in a voice almost too quiet to hear, that he had named the wolf pup Bray. Ren had said it was a good name. He had asked if she had ever had a wolf pup of her own when she was small. She had said no. He had thought about that for a long time. Then he had asked if she would tell him a story about his mother. So she told him one. A small story. About the time Sira, at 9 years old, had climbed a tree to get a kite, and refused to come down for 2 hours because she was afraid of heights and Ren was afraid for her. About how Sira had finally come down on her bottom, scraping bark all the way, and laughed about it the whole way home. The pup had laughed too. Small. Surprised at himself. He had fallen asleep before he finished his bowl of stew. Thuron carried him to bed. Ren sat in the chair and stayed. She did not light a lamp. The moon came in through the window and was enough. Around the 2nd hour past midnight, Kaelin stirred. He opened his eyes. He saw her in the chair. He did not look surprised. "Ren," he said. His voice was sleepy. "I'm sorry I hit you." She nodded. "It's all right, pup." He thought about that for a moment. "I broke your necklace." "I know." Father picked it up. "I know." He was quiet for a longer time. "Can I call you Ren?" he said. "I don't know how to call you the other thing yet. But I want to call you something." "That's yours." She felt the tears come back. She did not let them out. "Yes, pup," she said. "You can call me Ren. Father calls you that." "He does." "Then I will too." He closed his eyes. He breathed out. He was asleep again in less than a minute. She sat with him until morning. Thuron found them like that when the sun came up. Ren in the chair. The pup curled on his side. One small hand reached across the blanket toward her. Not touching her. Just reached. Thuron did not say anything. He came in and sat on the floor at her feet and put his head against her knee. She put her hand in his hair. Outside, the keep was waking up. The presentation ceremony was held 3 days later. Ren walked into the chamber on Thuron's arm. The council rose. The council bowed. Every one of them. Properly. The bow held longer than tradition required. Kaelin was there. He stood beside his father. He was wearing his small formal tunic, the same one as before, but his hair was combed and his face was washed, and he was holding something carefully in both hands. When the bow was finished, he stepped forward. He held out his hands. In them was the wolf pendant, the small carved wolf mid-how, the silver chain repaired with new links. the pendant itself polished until it shone. "Mama gave it to you," he said. He had practiced this. You could hear that he had practiced it, but in a different way this time. "I broke it. Father fixed it. I want to give it back." Ren knelt. She let him put it around her neck. His small fingers fumbled with the clasp. She did not help him. She let him do it himself. When he was done, he stood back and looked at it on her. "It looks better on you," he said. "Mama said it would." Ren put one hand on his cheek. She did not say anything. She did not need to. The chamber the second time was not silent because of fear. It was silent because nobody wanted to be the one to break it. Thuron put his hand on her back. He turned them both toward the council. "My mate," he said. "You're Luna." The council bowed again. This time when they rose, they smiled. Now here's the thing about that day. The story of it spread through the pack within a week. Through the kingdom within a month. The kneeling. The 4 words. The boy who hit his stepmother, and the king who did not raise his voice once. What people remembered in the end was not the violence in the chamber. It was the quiet. The way Thuron knelt. The way he did not say, "Do not speak to her that way." He said, "She is better than that." There is a difference, and the difference is the whole story. To tell a wolf pup not to do a thing is to give him a rule. To tell him the woman is better than what he just did is to give him a way of seeing her. A rule he might break. A way of seeing he keeps. The pup kept it. He grew up in that house. He grew tall and steady, and quiet in the way his father was quiet. When he was 16, in the council chamber where he had once thrown his fists, he was named heir of Iron Hollow. The first wolf to bow to him was Ren. He bent at the same moment and bowed back. The council never forgot it. She was not his real mother. She was something else. She was the woman his real mother had picked. She was the woman who waited 3 years. She was the woman who saved Bray. She was the woman who took the wound in her side. She was the woman whose pendant he gave back. She was, as the Alpha King had said, in the quietest voice the chamber had ever heard, better than that. And that was the answer Thuron had been trying to find the words for since the day he met her.